All right. God is good. He has blessed Goodview Trinity so much from its founding. Thousands of people have heard the good news of Jesus Christ's gift of salvation to them. And God has accomplished very much, a lot of things through Goodview Trinity. If you think back on all of the weddings, all of the baptisms, the confirmations, the funerals, the fellowship, just massively blessed us. And at times it looks to us humans like we financially have plenty. Other times it looks like we are financially in need. These cycles are expected. They're common to churches, they're common to humans. And of course we like to sit in wherever we are in one of those cycles. But we need to remember that God will work through us at all times, whether we are in need, we think we are in need, or we think we have plenty. The next slide after this one will show the financial cycles over the last 10 years, and that's just the income for the year versus the expenses for that year. And we haven't always been able to cover the expenses with our yearly income. Tough to see, but on the y-axis, where it's red, that's when we were not able to cover the expenses with the income for the year. And where it is white on the y-axis, that is the opposite. We were able to. And you'll notice that there are 5 data points below the 0 line and 5 data points above the 0 line, or one of them is right at the 0 line, over the last 10 years. So half the time we were, half the time we weren't able to cover the expenses. And in the gap, in the lean years, those were covered by the surpluses that we got and saved or put away in those years where we did have plenty. Goodview Trinity is practicing stewardship very seriously. We scrutinize the budgets and spending very carefully. We make use of endowed funds, savings, as well as offerings carefully. And over the years, many changes have happened to the ministry and to the way we handle our property based on the need to be good stewards. God provides through these cycles, and we can trust that that will continue. As we just heard in Philippians, we can rejoice because the Lord is near, and we do not need to be anxious about anything.
So maybe the answer surrounds us, though we don't have eyes to see. That you're always good, always good. This heartache is moving me closer than joy ever could. And you're always good, always good.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit about the present. I'm going to spend a little time just talking about our current offerings and expenses. Herb gave us a history over the last 10 years. And what I want to show is on the left, 2025. The lines to what they mean. The dashed lines are our budget. Okay, the blue is our offerings, and the red is our expenses. And as you can see, a little bit of a heartbeat, up and down, up and down, up and down. Similar trend here on 2026. When you look on the right-hand side, again, the same thing. Offerings are the blue lines, and the expenses are the red. The key here is that we really want the solid blue line to be right on top of that solid red line, right? As Herb shared, there were times that our offerings covered our expenses, and there were times our offerings didn't cover expenses. See a little bit of that here too. So the thing to keep in mind, and we talked about it a little bit at the last couple of annual meetings, is we're going to have this up and down. That's fine. And a budget is just a target. It's our best estimate. And we do a good job, as Herb had mentioned too, with our stewardship of how we look at things and make sure we have good budgets in place, and we watch our expenses with the gifts that God has given us and offerings to try to balance that out. Then there's tough decisions that have to be made. And we've made some of those tough decisions. We've had to do some budget cuts. Some of those our daily operating expenses and supplies are to the minimum required, but we still need to function, right? So that everyone here does a great job of that. There's been no raises to our admin assistant or our treasurer's assistant the last couple of years. We've made some reductions to pastor too. The health savings account, the housing equity contribution, and his 403 retirement plan contributions were reduced in 2026. We reduced them a little bit lower than what CITID recommendations were. These are hard decisions we had to make, trying to balance things the best we could. Congregational programs, right? The things that we do here, the outreach, the fellowship, campus ministry, vacation Bible school, ladies club. In 2026, we reduced the support that the congregation is budgeting for, but it doesn't mean we've stopped doing that. That's the great part, is we've found ways to keep doing outreach, have fellowship events, campus ministry, our vacation Bible school, and supporting ladies club. So, we're finding ways to make it work the best we can. We've also had to reduce our support to Luther High and to Synod Missions. And we try to keep that in line with what our offerings are. So in some of those good years that Herb was showing from the past, we were able to contribute more to support Luther and more to support Synod Missions. But more recently, we've had to scale those back. So what does it look like? As of the end of June, we've got about $29,000 in our checking account. The savings is about $139,000. So just an asterisk there. Some of those savings funds are designated, right? So they've been given and they need to be designated, and they're designated for certain things, but some of that is definitely available for us to shift over and use for our general operations. In the middle, there's our endowment funds. So there's 7 different funds in there. And the thing to note is that 5 of those are endowment funds. So what that means is that we can't touch the principal. Those are the 5 funds that we talk about where we are able to take the earnings once a year. There's a nice fancy formula we use that then we can make withdrawals from those funds, and we use those for special things like the general fund, endowment fund. The top one there's for projects. If there's some equipment or furniture or a project we want to do here, we can use those funds for that. It's not to pay the light bill. Right? That's the important thing. Same with social concerns. That's can be a really broad definition of social concerns. I know we've used some of that funding sometimes to help some people that have come into the area and need some help, but just in general, it can be very broad of anything you can define as social. So that's a good one that we have a lot of liberty to use. Property and maintenance, that one's pretty straightforward. We use that for special things that we want to do between here, the church, and the parsonage. And then the mission endowment. This is where we've been using these funds to actually pay our promise or our obligation that we've told the synod will pay for missions, along with any designated funds from members. And then the educational endowment fund. This one was here to help with some tuition assistance for members who had children going to any Christian school, and that could be from day school all the way through college. Okay, but again, it's only the earnings we can take from those. It's a designated amount because we want to keep the principal there, right? The balance, so it keeps growing and generating more money that we can take out next year. The last two are not endowed funds. So the first one is the Wells Christian School Tuition Fund. This one was started 3-4 years ago, maybe 5 now, where members of the congregation or anyone could donate to this fund. And this was also another fund available to members who have children going to a Christian day school. They could request support for tuition assistance, and the monies could come from this fund. The last one is one that's been around a long time. Property Acquisition and Expansion Fund. Decades ago, those that were helping lead the church saw it fit that, hey, let's start a fund for the future. So someday, if we want to expand or we have a significant construction project, this is available also that we can use to support those types of projects. So the question is, and Adam will talk about this a little bit, in the future, what does it look like, right? What is our runway, right? How long can we survive if nothing changes? If we hold everything constant as we are today, the amount of offerings and our expenses, we probably have about 4 years before our checking and savings would be depleted. Now that's if nothing changes. So as we all know, things will change, right? The key here, though, and you've heard this me for years, there is no need to panic. Okay, when you look back at history, this congregation has gone through some very great times and some very challenging times. You saw in Herb's chart what I call the COVID effect. Those 2 years where the offerings spiked like significantly above our expense lines. That enabled us to accomplish a lot of things during those tough times. We paid off a significant debt to St. Matthew's for tuition assistance over the years, 6 figures. We were able to pay off some other debt to the bank. We had a line of credit, and we were able to build up our savings and checking account and do some special funds in the emergency fund. You know, so if something significant would break here at church, we had the funds. So I think it's very important, again, don't panic. Things go through cycles, whether you're in business or at home, church. We've been good stewards. We're going to continue to be good stewards. And by God's grace, we've weathered a whole bunch of previous bumps in the road. We got a little bump in the road here we're working through. But we're making progress. And a couple of simple things I'll share on what we can do in the present is, and I talked about this at the last couple of annual meetings, we're really close to being able to match and cover our expenses with our offerings. A couple of simple things. People consider, look, pray about this, think about it, but $5 or $10 a week more by everyone. And if we miss a Sunday, we make up that offering the following Sunday, we're right on line to be able to have a balanced budget by the end of the year. So those are a couple of things that we can do presently. So, thank you.
By His mercy, by His bounty, by the gift of Christ His Son, what great goodness He has shown us, what high marvels He has done. Let us to Him promptly, freely, yield our bodies and our souls, thankful that His love protects us, that His wisdom all controls.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Adam Fletcher. I'm the current president on our church's council, and I get the opportunity to chat through future, or kind of some next steps here. So let's see. Great. So Steve has already kind of shared some short-term sort of math to close that gap. So we're really close. I don't know if that makes it clear. Yeah, well, it doesn't show on there. A little like green arrow. That's that little bit that we got to make to get back to that gap here. But I really want to emphasize our current budget and the decisions that we had to make over this past annual meeting as well. Our goal is to get past that just closure of that gap and try to fulfill some of the missions and the plans that this church has. But again, I just want to reiterate and thank all of you for the steps that you have made since our annual meeting, and considering $5 or $10 more or consistency with your gifts. I also want to just talk about giving intentionally and trying to not let life get in the way, which happens a lot of times. I know that I have my own to-do list, my own obligations throughout work and home life as well. So two quick stories. One would be soon after my family started coming here, it seemed like Sunday after Sunday for the first little bit, we'd get in the car, and on the drive home, Emily would ask, "So have you set up our giving yet?" Like, "Oh yeah. No, but I'm going to do that." And more time passed than I wanted to in reflection there. So it's really easy for the busyness of life to interfere with the intentions that we might have with the gifts that we want to give. The other would be like automation. We'll talk through some options there as well, but trying to set up a regularity to the giving that you want to do. Even those don't always work as intended. The setup that we had for how we were giving on an automated basis, the payment that we used had changed, and I didn't catch that. So there's like a period of time where I thought automatic payments were going through and they weren't, right? So here's another example of life kind of getting in the way with intention not necessarily meeting reality as well. So maybe just a couple things to think about, and I want to talk through kind of ways that we are able to give here. So first off, we're pretty intentional about not passing a physical basket. Other churches that you may have gone to in the past, we have a dedicated part of service where a basket is passed between every pew. We've continued to have the decision to keep that in the back here and not have that be part of our exact service. We still have giving envelopes, so that works really well if that's the way that you'd like to give, putting a check or some cash into that and dropping it in the basket back there. We also have online giving options. Currently, we're using a service called Faith Street. They do charge some financing fees there, so we're investigating some other opportunities that we might have. That 3.5% fee that we get through giving through Faith Street adds up, right? And if we're able to find ways of minimizing some of those, more of the dollars that we're donating are able to go towards the missions of our church. Another idea to consider would be like bank bill pay. So a lot of us that have online banking options, you can actually just like set up a recurring check that would get mailed to the church as well. I can't go into details with your individual bank, but if you're interested in talking, I'm happy to try to figure that out with you. That would be a way of like bypassing any sort of service fees as an option. There's also been some changes recently with the Thrivent Choice Dollars. So any of you that are a member of Thrivent, there's monies that can be allocated towards missions or some different work. The window for when those dollars can be allocated has become expanded for this year. So if you have an account with Thrivent and that's something you want to talk about more, we've got plenty of people in our congregation that'd be happy to chat with you about that. And then two other kind of novel options that might fit in your situation, might not, but I think it's worth putting just a little bit of visibility to it. So one is donating appreciated stocks, kind of an odd concept, but if you are one to make investments, you can actually donate stocks directly to Wells. There's a mechanism to do that. Being a nonprofit, the church doesn't have to pay any capital gains on the appreciated portion of those assets. So they get the full amount. You don't have to pay taxes. The church doesn't have to pay taxes. And it's a novel way of giving as well. So I'm really happy to chat through that too, if that's something that would be at all interesting. And lastly, just considering estate gifts as well. So Wells does have some resources to help with estate or estate planning, and allowing some of your estate to be given to the church too. So we can get you lined up if that's something that would at all be interesting to you. But again, our goal is to grow beyond neutral. So again, closing the gap doesn't grow the mission. And we really want to see our budget be able to get expanded so that we can reach our community more. We'll continue to be transparent. As Garrett pointed out, this is a little bit awkward to come up and talk through finances this way and to be as transparent as we have been. But I think it's really important for all of us to kind of know where we're sitting currently and ensure that we can continue to cover the bare bone expenses just to keep operations running. As we've heard reiterated through this morning, we've faced hardship before, and God has always provided. So I think that's really important and the underlying message here.